My name is Trey Deason. I play Dr. Seward. My general personality is very insecure and always questioning. So I tend to feel like in that turning a negative to a positive. I'm someone who, well, is usually pretty, as a performer at least, I'm pretty receptive to criticism and feedback. My biggest goal is I want the larger thing to work. I often felt like I'm fairly ego-free as an actor. I'm ego-free. Not in other things, but
okay.
I'm generally was like, well, I want this story. I want the other actors and all of this to work out together. So I guess that would be my biggest strength. Most of the things that I tend to do outside of a rehearsal tends to be stuff like just figuring out what the order of the scenes and what each scene and how each scene progresses to the other. I think part of it is because I'm also a playwright that I tend to think of things in that way of how it goes along its path, both the character and the show, so that the rehearsal becomes more about trying to figure out what the relationship with the other characters are. I don't like to be too glued into what I think the relationship with the other characters are until I really am with the other characters. And the usual going over lines a little bit. I've had to go over lines more for this show than most. Because it does draw a little bit on melodrama, there is a lot of repetitive, or slightly repetitive, which is even more trickier. And sometimes you have to figure out how to make that work for you. Like, I have 3 scenes with Renfield, and I leave all 3 scenes of those. The first one begins with Renfield. The second one begins with Renfield, what is it? Who are you talking about? And the third one is Renfield, what is it? Who are you talking to?
Nice.
So it's just...
I tell Lucy that she's dreaming in like 5 different ways.
Come back to bed. Come back to bed. You're dreaming. And those are the hardest things to memorize. So yeah, a little more memorization for the show than most. I think at least for this character is that there is a very strange duality the way Dietz has written him, in that he's this, or at least he should be this very sympathetic character in many ways, that he's kind of has this love that he thinks is unrequited, and he's kind of convinced himself of that, and maybe it is, maybe it's not, and so we do kind of feel for him as he goes through this personally painful journey. But he's also, the way he's written, he's also kind of a bit of a monster in himself, and Renfield is the one who keeps pointing that out. It's like, you know, we're both obsessive men in the same ways, just in different, like, your obsession is acceptable to society, mine's not. And so it's a matter of like trying to balance that darkness, because I like that, but I also know that for the show, for the story to work, that we really do have to be on Seward's side. So it's that probably one of the more challenging areas for the character. So yeah, we haven't really added this element to it yet, but I'm really excited to add the lights and the sound, and to be on the set, because we've been moving from various rehearsal rooms, and I'm like, I'm really excited to see how this all the levels and the way the effects also. I'm a little nervous about that, like how that's going. You're like, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of some special effects going on here, and we'd be prepared for that. Like I said, it's tough to get too big of a feel of it in the rehearsal room, but like I'm really hoping that it is kind of creepy. And there's already some moments where you're like, particularly watching JM kind of hovering his victims, you're just like. There's one scene in particular where I'm hoping, again, like I'm in the scene, so I really can't see it, but I'm like, I want a gasp. I want to hear a gasp from people. I feel like we're in some ways we're very similar. That we're somewhat closed off people. We're very shy people, I think. And because of that, I tend to. It depends, but I tend to not get along with people who are like me. So that may be I tend to get along better with people who are sort of opposites of me, and so I don't know. I think we might. I feel like we might have some good conversations, but then it'd be like, well, have a good day.
Right.
Go do your thing with your crazy people. We're a little weird. A little too into this.
Yeah.
I find this a bit cliche, but like I would say, maybe just sit back and have fun.
Yeah, another plane, sorry. It was like borderline, and then I was like, nope, I officially am calling this one.
Break down. Another one.
I think it's a helicopter.
It may be a helicopter. It may very well be a helicopter.
Yeah. Come on, you guys. So, it's a beautiful day.